Great, thank you so much. Apologize to the members of the public who are watching. We had some technical difficulties, so we're starting our meeting today a little bit late. I will hand it over now to our chairperson, Chair Smith.
Thank you. The meeting of the Planning Commission and Airport Zoning Commission for May 6, 2020 are called to order concurrently at 6:19 p.m. Pursuant to Executive Order N-25-20 and N-29-20, members of the Planning Commission and staff are participating in this meeting via video link, Zoom, and/or teleconference. This is not an in-person meeting. Members of the public may observe this meeting on the City of Hawthorne website or on YouTube. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Rula, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Gladly, sir. Place your hands over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic that stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the Secretary please call the roll, please?
Thank you, Commissioner. Planning Director Greg Suchiuchi is not able to make it today, so I'll be taking over his duties for the meeting as Secretary. Chairperson Smith.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Al-Shinable.
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Present.
And Commissioner Caraveo.
Present.
And Commissioner Richard indicated earlier today that he would not be able to attend this meeting, and he apologizes. So he will be absent. He is absent.
Okay, thank you. Oral communications. This is the time for oral communications. Because this meeting is not an in-person meeting, members of the public who wish to participate in the meeting were asked to participate by calling or emailing the planning department no later than 5:30 p.m. today, noting the item on which the member wants to speak. This information was provided on the agenda posted in compliance with the Brown Act on Friday, May 1, 2020. At this time, if there were any messages left for oral communication, staff will call the public member, place them on speakerphone, or read those messages for those individuals that provided written comments. Remarks are still limited to 3 minutes in duration. Staff, is there any participation from the public for oral communications?
We do, Chairperson Smith. The first person that indicated he wished to left it at 4:05, and his name is Joe, and I don't want to pronounce his name and butcher it, but it's Bernard Towitz, I believe. So I'll be calling him. I also have another speaker that left a message at approximately 5:23, and it's Mr. Jerry Jamgochian, so I will call him second. I'm calling them to the order that they were received. So if you bear with me, I will go ahead and call the first speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
And then we'll test to see if the person can be heard well. This is the first time we're doing it this way, so. Hi, this is Melissa Crosswaite from the City Attorney's Office, and I'm calling because you left a message and you wish to speak on an item on the agenda today. I have you currently on speaker, and we are in a planning commission meeting. Could you, you have 3 minutes to speak. Could you state your name and your address for the record, and I will start the clock so that you have your full 3 minutes. But let me test this out first. Could you just speak a little so that we can make sure everyone can hear you?
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Commissioners, can you hear him?
Yes.
I see heads nodding. Okay. It looks like that's a yes. This is the first time we do this, so bear with us. Okay, sir. Go ahead and I will start the clock. So this is your chance to speak to the Planning Commission. Go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you for the introduction, first off. So my name is Joe Bernadowitz, and I'm a Planet Fitness franchisee and owner-operator location in Hawthorne. My address is 1033 8th Street, Manhattan Beach, California. So good evening, council members. First off, thanks for providing us with the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I know this is an unusual time for everyone, but we certainly appreciate your time. So we at Planet Fitness are very excited to bring our judgment-free zone to the city of Hawthorne. Planet Fitness is a national franchise that operates over 2,000 locations worldwide, and we're individual operators of the brand. As operators of Planet Fitness, and being a small business owner, we've always felt a passion for activating strong partnerships to support our local communities. Additionally, we feel strongly that the community members will greatly benefit from having an affordable fitness option, as well as a non-intimidating atmosphere to allow them to lead a healthier lifestyle while also feeling comfortable in our facilities. Regarding our exterior plan we're proposing to rebrand the building so our member can recognize the Planet Fitness brand has been established in the greater Los Angeles area. We're not proposing any physical or architectural changes. We feel that the proposed plan embodies our branding appropriately while providing a local, yet modern, clean, and attractive finish. Due to the amount of other retailers on Hawthorne Boulevard, it's extremely important for Planet Fitness to enhance the visibility and appearance of the site. First impressions are extremely important for any business, and it's critical that we position ourselves well. This exterior modification will improve the appearance of the building, as well as the section of the corridor on Hawthorne Boulevard, which in turn will help us attract prospective members while staying consistent with our brand guidelines. Again, I'd like to reiterate how excited we are to provide the city of Hawthorne with an affordable fitness option to promote a healthier lifestyle while still being closely ingrained in the community. Thank you guys for your time, and look forward to being a main contributor in the city. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to hang up now and call the second speaker.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. So there's no problems with hearing. Everything was fine, right? Okay, let's call the next speaker. Okay, give me 1 second.
Hello?
Hi, this is Melissa Crossway from the City Attorney's Office, and I'm calling because you left a message with our planning department wishing to speak during oral communications. You are on speakerphone and sorry about that, and you are able to address the Planning Commission at this time. I'm going to place a timer. You have 3 minutes to speak during oral communication. Please state your name and address for the record. And let's test the speaker to make sure that you can be heard by the commission. Can you speak a little bit, Mr. Jamgochian?
Am I the first speaker in oral communications?
No, sir, you're second. I went down by who called first or who left the message first.
And who was that?
The first speaker was a representative of Planet Fitness.
And who was that?
Joe, I cannot pronounce the last name, Bernachovich, I believe, Bernachovich.
And did he speak for 3 minutes?
Yes, sir. That sound that you heard was his timer going off, in fact.
Okay, also, as I communicated with you earlier.
Can you give me 1 second, sir? Commissioners, can you hear him? Are you able to hear him? I see yes, nodding. Okay, everyone seems to be nodding. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I wish to speak on the oral communications item and also item G, which is the agenda item for the exterior colors. So I would like to speak once again when this agenda item comes up, which is agenda item G. With regards to oral communications, I wanted to make the commission aware of 2 letters that
could I please stop you 1 second? I just need to start the timer for you. Give me 1 second. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Well, first off, am I able to speak under both agenda items, oral communication?
I can address that at the end. You can go ahead and speak now.
Well, why don't you address it now?
Because that's a question for the commission, so I will address it after. So if you can go ahead and speak. Your time is running. I'll give you an extra couple seconds there.
With regards to this agenda item, I wanted to make the commission aware of 2 letters that have been provided to the city attorney's office that I've requested be provided to you. I don't know if you received them. I wanted to confirm that you received a letter dated May 5th and another letter dated May 4th, one from Dollar Tree and the other one from my legal counsel, Sean Andre. Did the commission members get those letters?
The commission doesn't answer questions during oral communications.
Can you confirm that you provided letters to them that I requested you to provide, Melissa?
As a courtesy, I will answer that question. I have not had the opportunity to do that, but I will provide the information. Even though I'm not legally required to provide it, I will go ahead and provide it to them.
I requested you to provide that information for 2 days.
Again, I'm not required to provide it to them. This is not a public hearing item, and so it did not require me to provide any records to the commission, but that's fine. I will go ahead as a courtesy, provide that to them tomorrow morning.
So then I request that the matter be continued in the interest of the council, in the interest of the commission, because they need to see a letter dated May 5th from Dollar Tree, which states, in the event of a large shopping center where parking is in common, this can't be less of an issue, talking about the Planet Fitness parking. However, the location in question is a self-contained property, and when the gym is at capacity, their customers will undoubtedly use our parking as we are in close proximity. We are not equipped to manage or maintain the potential influx of parking. We also have concerns related to alley safety and potential disruption to our store's loading and unloading process. I welcome the chance to share with you our comments in further detail. To date, members of the commission, no one has reached out to Dollar Tree to discuss their concerns. Secondly, with regards to a letter that was written that you should have already received, that I ask you to also review, is a letter from my attorney, Sean Andre, which discusses a basically bogus traffic study that was done by the traffic engineer with Planet Fitness numbers at a store in Norwalk versus the 2 stores in Inglewood. this is important because the store in Norwalk has very little traffic, and the two Planet Fitness stores in Inglewood have significant traffic. So I want the commissioners to be aware that there are 4 major mitigation measures.
You can go ahead and finish, sir.
There are 4 major mitigation measures which have not been addressed, and just so you know, an appeal will be filed tomorrow of the planning director's approval of this project. And the 4 matters that have been totally ignored are traffic, the safety of the 20-foot wide alley, which is the only access point from 132nd Street, lawful access point. The third item, which is probably the most important, is this gym has between 7,000 and 10,000 members, and they have a grand total of 77 parking spaces. So if in fact you live anywhere near this property, you can expect to get open 24 hours a day, that there's going to be no parking in this community. All the off-street parking is going to be taken, and there'll be a tremendous quagmire of parking on 131st and 132nd Street. I request the Planning Commission continue this item for till the next meeting. And in addition, if you are going to approve it, this application says that they're going to use graffiti-resistant paint. Well, I mean, I understand why they want to use that they don't want to use graffiti-resistant paint because it's very expensive. I think the Planning Commission should require that they use graffiti-resistant paint because the graffiti issues with regards to Hawthorne Boulevard.
Okay,
So,
Mr. Jamgochian, I have to stop you because I think you're about 3 minutes now. Now, you had a question.
I also want to speak on item G. So,
Okay, if you'll just let me speak after that, I would appreciate it. So I'm now speaking to the commissioners. This is, as you know, this item on your agenda is not a public hearing item. It is an administrative item. We do not typically take members of the public comments during that time, but it's your determination. If you feel that you would like to hear more information from the applicant as well as Mr. Jamgochian, that is your prerogative. You can go ahead and open that up, but I do have to stress that this is not a public hearing, so we're not taking testimony from any members of the public or even from the applicant. So it will be your decision, and you can decide that at that time if you wish, but this request is being made by Mr. Jamgochian, and it's up to you. Does anyone have any comments on that? I think you're all unmuted now. You can speak.
I can, through the chair, since it's not a requirement and it's administrative item, I don't feel like we need to set a precedence for this, so I'm okay either way. Prefer not to, but I'm okay either way.
I prefer not to too.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I feel like we should at least let them speak. I mean, it is a public hearing still, but I just want him to know that we're here making a decision on just the painting and the colors. The use is not something that we're debating on today, so that would have to be brought up at a later meeting. So maybe today we're only making a decision on the painting of the facility, not any use or anything like that. That's not in front of us today.
Okay. As a compromise, what you could do is you can say that you will allow them to speak, but place a limitation on the amount of time, for example. You can do something like that. And if you'd like, we can decide this at the time that we hear the items. So I don't have any other speaker cards. So Mr. Jamgochian, does anyone want to speak in the commission? Is there a decision at this time, or do you
I think
want
Mr.
to wait?
Smith is trying, but it's, I don't hear Mr. Smith.
If
There he is.
I'm here.
Okay. He's there.
I'm a little confused because I thought that what we're looking at tonight is an administrative item, approval or non-approval of existing exterior colors for Planet Fitness. And I don't quite understand what the other situation is about the parking and all this and that. So,
Right.
you know, I guess I think I'd rather like to see a copy of the letters before, so I can really quite understand what's going on before we get into this further, because I'm not, from what I see on the agenda tonight, it's just exterior colors.
That's exactly what it is.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. You have
So-
it's exterior colors, and our senior planner can give you more information about what that entails as an item. But you are correct. It's exterior colors. It's not an entitlement. It's not a CUP. It's an entirely separate action. But it
Yeah.
is up to you. At this point, all I would like to know is whether you would like to hear from speakers at that time or not. And I can tell you that I'm hard pressed to remember when we have allowed speakers during administrative or consent calendar items, but it's totally your decision if you'd like to provide the applicant as well as Mr. Jangochian another opportunity to speak.
well, my comment that, you know, the period of time I've been on the planning commission, we've never allowed anyone to speak on when it was an administrative item. And I don't know if we want to really set a precedent now or not.
I don't.
So,
Well,
you know,
I think to make this matter easier for everybody is that it really is irrelevant because we're filing an appeal of the planning director's decision. So the whole thing is going to come to the planning commission anyway.
Okay.
As soon as so I think the best thing to do in this particular case is either continue this, or if you pass it, just understand that by passing it, there's an appeal going to be filed tomorrow. So it's kind of a moot case. I would think continuing would be the better thing because it'd be easier to, if there's some solution that's addressed between now and the next meeting, at least it could come back on the agenda. So we're going to appeal it tomorrow no matter what, but rather than waste time with this, I think that it'd probably be best to continue it.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes.
Melissa, I don't know if I can ask this question now because we haven't gotten to that item yet, but again, we are only approving the colors. That's the only thing that's coming to the planning commission, correct?
That's right.
So everything else is irrelevant.
Yes.
So I don't see,
Other than the anti-graffiti, which I believe should be added to this
that
proposal.
is a personal preference that we will discuss then with the applicant. I don't think this is an administrative item. I do not see any reason to discuss things that are not even going to come to the planning commission. This is allowed by right, so.
Okay. So it sounds like that the commission would like to go ahead and end oral communications and continue the meeting. Okay. Is that the direction from the commission, Commissioner Smith?
yeah, yes.
Okay, Mr. Jamgochian, oral communications is now done. Obviously, you can continue to watch the meeting, and if you have any questions, you can always contact me later. I'm going to go ahead and end the call, and we'll continue our meeting.
How do I watch the meeting? Can you tell me? Because I wasn't told that I could watch it. I could only listen.
Oh, on the agenda. You can go to the agenda, and it tells you to go to the City of Hawthorne website.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm on the City of Hawthorne website right now. Can you tell me where it's located?
I believe it's through the calendar. If you can get to the calendar, you can get to the meeting. Commissioners, I think that's
Yes.
yeah, I see some nodding, yes.
Okay, fair
Okay.
enough. I'll find it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Sure,
Okay, let's continue on with the meeting then.
yes.
Next item is Planning Commission and Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar. Are there any items?
There are no items.
Items. Okay, we'll now recess the Airport Zoning Commission, and we now have the Planning Commission consent calendar. Are there any items?
There are not, no.
Thank you. Are there any continued public hearings?
There are no continued public hearings.
Any new public hearings?
There are no new public hearings.
Okay, we'll now recess the Planning Commission, call back to order the Airport Zoning Commission. Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar, are there any items?
There are no items.
Thank you. Airport Zoning Commission, new continued public hearings.
There are no items.
Okay. Now we'll call back to order the Planning Commission concurrently with the Airport Zoning Commission. Administrative items. Number one, administrative approval of exterior colors for Planet Fitness located at 13116 Hawthorne Boulevard.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Smith. This item will be discussed by Senior Planner Christopher Palmer. We provided a staff report, so you should have that in your packet, and I will pass it on to Mr. Palmer now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning Commission administrative color approval, and its address is 13119 Hawthorne Boulevard, and the project applicant is Planet Fitness. The applicant has requested approval to repaint the exterior of an existing building, and per Hawthorne Municipal Code 1730-010, the Planning Commission is required to take a look and approve exterior colors. The Hawthorne Municipal Code states that a minimum of 3 complementary colors shall be used for each building, and the selected colors shall be consistent with the color schemes commonly found on the architectural style of the building. This particular building doesn't have an architectural style, and this applicant is actually looking to brand this building using their corporate colors. So to describe that a little more, the applicant is utilizing white and light gray for the majority of the building, with gray trim as an accent along pop-outs that run from the ground to the top of the building. And then they're also using purple, yellow, gray, dark gray, and that's going to be utilized along the frontage of the building, and it's going to be painted in the form of gears as part of their branding. The project is categorically exempt from the provisions of CEQA, and the proposed exterior colors comply with the requirements of the Hawthorne Municipal Code, and staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the proposed color palette as depicted in your attachments, and find that the project is categorically exempt. I took a look at some of the attachments that you have, and one of the attachments that you have shows the exterior of the attachment 2 and 3 shows the exterior of the building, the front, and then the sides, respectively. I want to just call out that this is not going to, is not for the signage. The signage is under a separate permit. So this is strictly for the facade painting on the front of the building. This concludes my report.
Okay. Anyone have a comment?
Yes, through the chair. Can Mr. Palmer share his screen so I can see, or others in the commission can see the colors? I was not able to receive the colors, so I didn't get an attachment. When I went to it didn't provide a link on the agenda.
That's a technological question. I don't think Mr. Palmer can do that. I think what Chief Ishii can do is put a copy of the agenda, but I think you're right, it doesn't link to it. So I don't know if we can remedy that. The staff report talked about the colors, and it included the attachments. You should have received that. Did you not get the actual, the renderings? Talk about the actual.
No, I received 2 emails from Nicole Houston, and none of them had the.
It had a link to the website, And from the website, under the agenda, it said it had an attachment, then you click on it and it had 2 attachments within it.
Right, it wasn't attached to the email. We're now just
Okay.
directing you to the website. Yeah.
Yeah, and,
It should be in the interactive agenda.
Right. Not the first link, the second link that she sent, the second email rather.
correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
Melissa, it's quite
well-
easy if he can share his screen, if he just opens on that page and shares the screen, Mr. Ortiz can see it.
Yeah, it's,
I don't know that Mr. Palmer has a camera. Senior
Oh.
Planner Palmer, do you have a camera that you could do that with? I don't think he does.
If
No,
he's
it doesn't.
sharing his screen, he doesn't need a
So-
camera.
Oh,
Let me see,
okay.
where do I put it up? Do I just print it
No.
up, put,
it's just on your screen, whatever's on your screen, and then you hit the share screen and it'll show whatever's on your screen.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
yeah, but, I can't do that because that's disabled by the host.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So
Yeah,
then we
the
can
host can
help
allow
It
you.
has to be the host. Okay.
I'm changing that right now. Give me a minute.
Oh, good, we're learning something. I didn't know you could do that.
I have
What I
to
learned
show
from last
PowerPoint.
meeting is to make sure my computer's plugged in so the battery doesn't die in the middle of the meeting. That's what I learned last time.
Chris Palmer, give it a try now. You should have access.
Okay. And so it's gonna ask me which screen to share. Okay, right there. And share. Can you guys see this?
Yes,
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
So
yes,
that's existing,
yes,
and this is proposed,
yes.
and this is the side and rear. And so I made a comment that the signage is not part of this. You see a rooftop sign here that has a PF with a thumb. That is gonna require a conditional use permit if they choose to do that. And Planet Fitness being attached to the wall on the front and on the side, that's a building permit that they'll need to do that. So this is for the gray colors. So, what you're seeing, can you see my mouse move?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, so this here, the gray across the top, the gray here, the gray here, and then the gears. And then if you can see these, it's like little chips of gray along these existing brick patterns that kind of pop out already. So this is the gist of what the proposal is.
okay, that's a lot more tame than I was expecting, so that actually looks good.
Yeah, this is the second or third iteration, so we take care of that before we bring it to you. We try to do our best.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comment?
I actually do, if I may. Oh, sorry, go ahead, sir. Go
No,
ahead.
you can go first.
My only concern, I mean, I know that you said that the signage isn't necessarily going to be this. And again, this is merely a suggestion, not anything. If you can go back to the picture that actually has Planet Fitness. My only suggestion would be, I mean, I know that yellow and purple are opposites. Where the NESS is, I would prefer that the cogwheel or the gear behind it be yellow instead of blending in with the purple.
fitness.
And it's just a suggestion. I know that it's the personal preference and they have the right to it. It's just a suggestion. It will make it pop out more for the NESS to show if the cogwheel behind it was, or the gear behind it was yellow. That's my only suggestion. Thank you.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
the questions that I had, so this proposal doesn't require a CUP or a design review? Is that correct?
This is technically the design review, but no, it doesn't require a CUP.
Okay. And then, I know we want, every business to stay in the city and we want every business to thrive. Just in case this business were to relocate somewhere else within the city, and they were to leave this location, is it possible to put a condition on it that they repaint the building back to its original color or some neutral color?
I'll answer that. Do you want me to answer that, Chris?
Please do.
Okay, no, this is not a traditional discretionary permit, so we can't condition them to do that. But as you know, if for some reason they were to leave and the signage starts to have, you know, I don't know, chipping or something where it looks like it's blighted, we have tools. It can be considered a nuisance, and you know, the property owner could be cited. So that's how we would take care of that. It would just be through code enforcement.
And what type of permit or approval do they need to paint it?
For signage or for to do this exterior painting?
To do the exterior painting.
The exterior painting is just what we call the exterior colors. It's in the code section that the senior planner talked about. This is it. This is the approval for it, which requires, like he mentioned, it has to have a certain number of colors and other requirements, and also some guidance as well. So it's laid out in the code. 17 point. Could you remind me of the code section? Because I don't have it up.
Code section is,
There we go. Thank you. I like this changing of screen. 17.30.010.
through the chair, can I ask the commissioner a question? Commissioner Caraveo, are you asking after this, if you guys say that this is okay, is there something that will be signed to say it's an approval, or are you saying that, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, is there something that, you know, approves it for them to do this painting? And that way we can attach, you know, some type of condition that way, saying that, you know, if they were to relocate, for them to paint it, you know, back to its, you know, neutral color.
Do you want me to answer that again, or did you want to take that, Chris?
Oh, no, I mean, I think it's just a reiteration of what you said. So, unfortunately, you know, if you're trying to condition something, there's no tools or there's no way to condition this project at all. This project is kind of we're complying with the code by using at least 3 colors. It's you know, it fits in with the community. It doesn't stand out or cause any type of visual blight. And what do you think? And so you guys being the, you know, administrative, like, design review board, you know, like what Commissioner Alsonable said, okay, I recommend that gear is gold instead of purple. That's something that they can do, and I can say, hey, you know, they approved it based on you painting this gold. And that's not something that the applicant will have, you know, a hard time with, because it's not really a condition. It's something that makes the project, you know, kind of have a better aesthetic appeal.
Right. So to answer your question, there's no procedure for us to be able to get a condition the applicant to do what you've mentioned. Our avenues are code enforcement.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Secretary, what do we need for to approve or not approve it? We need a motion.
Just a motion and a second and a vote.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other comments on it?
My only comment is that it was a suggestion. Like, I mean, if they prefer things their way, I'm not going to impose my opinion. It was just a suggestion. So if they feel more comfortable that leaving it the way that it is, that's perfectly their prerogative. But it was just a suggestion.
That's a good suggestion, though.
Thank you.
Okay. And could we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve.
All seconds.
That would be, the motion is by Commissioner Ortiz and seconded by Commissioner Alsonable.
Yes.
Okay. So let me take the vote. Chairperson Smith?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Alsonable?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ortiz?
I think that was the other way around, but yes.
Was the other way around? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. I'm just going by my notes.
Right.
All commissioners, so Commissioner Ortiz?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Caraveo?
Yes.
Okay, so that, and Commissioner Richard is absent. So that's 4 in favor, and the motion passes to approve this administrative item. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for commissioner reports. Any of the commissioners have any reports?
I mean, if I may just really quickly, I don't know if there's anything written, but, and please, I apologize for saying this, but like, is there a code of ethics or etiquette of how the community addresses the planning commission and the city attorney and our attorney, or can we regulate tone? I mean, sometimes I understand that people may be upset for their personal reasons, but there should be a minimum amount of etiquette and courtesy when speaking to the planning commission, which I personally felt maybe was not observed well today. That's my personal opinion.
Okay. That's a good question. Obviously, you as officials are held to a high standard. You have a code of conduct. I think you guys remember that I have you sign something when you first become a commissioner that has rules, guidance, things that you should follow, how you should speak to each other, and how you should speak to members of the public. The members of the public do not have to sign codes of ethics. This is where law and ethics kind of meet. People by law can speak at meetings and they can criticize, and tone is not addressed. As you guys know from training that we always do, as long as it doesn't obstruct the meeting, as long as it doesn't impede the meeting, it's protected speech. One would hope, one wishes that people were to be a little bit more polite, and that's an ethical thing. That's an ethical, moral, kind of understanding out there, but that is, as you know, difficult to enforce, right? It's law that we
No, thank you for that. I mean, I just wanted to know. So thank you for clarifying that.
I appreciate your comment, and I do understand. But that's the law. People can come and criticize.
And I respect their right to do so. Thank
right,
you.
we all do. We all do.
Yes.
Right, I get that.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions or reports?
I was trying to see if this was a design review item, if we can have maybe the code changed to where the planning commission is allowed to place conditions on these types of projects, because it seems pointless if we can't, put any conditions on it.
Well, there will be changes coming with that. We are the city council. Correct me if I'm wrong. They did approve the change from a design review body to planning commission, and that has an entirely different ordinance. With this item, we are basically restricted to what's contained in that small section 17.30.010. Design review guidelines are much more extensive, and that is what the design review board, what design review will be, and that will be done by the planning commission. So that's coming. There will be some changes. So I hope that addresses kind of your concerns. I understand what you're saying, but this code section is a very short, very strange provision, but we are limited as to what we can do.
Okay.
Yes. Any other reports or questions? Yeah, the days are blurring. We're so busy now, but I believe that did pass the city council, so that will be changed soon.
No comments from me.
Okay.
Anyone else have any comment, any report? No? Okay.
Again,
So if
thanks
there-
everybody for your attention and for having to do this in a different format. And it's our second meeting, and so we don't know how long we're gonna have to do it this way, but we'll keep doing it to keep being healthy and making sure that we're saving lives. So thank you so much for this.
No problem. We'll become experts pretty soon.
Hopefully,
Yes.
I learned something, so.
Yeah. I actually have. I've been teaching since this started.
Yes, this is a whole different thing. Thank you,
Yeah.
Christopher, because you were able to do that. If you had asked me, I would not have been able to do it. I'll just be honest. But so thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Goodbye.
And if
Bye.
there's
All right.
nothing,
We are adjourning at
yeah, we're at 7 o'clock,
7 o'clock.
Seven-
Awesome.
7:01.
7:01. Thank you,
Mhm.
commissioners. Have a good evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Goodbye,
Take care.
thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.